It looks like Donald Trump up in the San Francisco Bay Area got a little bit of the New York Ted Cruz treatment. Basically, and I understand that Donald Trump's, obviously has to, give speeches or rallies, yeah, in California if he intends to win delegates out of California. But this one, in my mind, was pretty funny as far as the statement that he made, that he felt like he was crossing the border. Anyway, this segment of News One is a discussion of what they believe is going to happen at the GOP convention, and they also get into a discussion about the Trump voter and who's actually supporting Trump. And you'll see Cleo Manago basically come straight out indicating that they're supporting, a racist misogynist. And he gets, quote unquote, a little pushback from the former state GOP head, but it's not all that serious.
The peaceful protests in California are a stark contrast to the violence that happened last week. You recall on Friday, protesters tried to stop Trump from speaking at the California GOP state convention. Thousands of people blocked the entrance to the Hyatt Regency. Many threw bottles, jumped on police cars, and fought Trump supporters. Well, things got so bad, Trump was escorted through the back door. That's right, he had to come through the back door to avoid the crowds. And of course, Mr. Trump is no stranger to angry mobs throughout his campaign so far. His supporters have attacked protesters, leading to several injuries and arrests. Plus, Trump is promising that if he does not get the nomination, his supporters are likely to riot at the convention in Cleveland this summer. Well, right now, a new NBC News Wall Street poll shows Trump leading Senator Ted Cruz by some 15 points among Indiana voters. Trump says if he wins, Cruz is done. But Cruz is promising a contested Republican convention.
It's over. Cruz cannot win. He's got no highway. He's got nothing.
Are you going to support Donald Trump if he's the nominee?
I am going to beat Donald Trump.
And here's where the candidates stand right now. Trump has 996 delegates. Cruz has 565, and Governor Kasich has 153. Now, 1,237 delegates are needed to secure the nomination. And looking ahead to the GOP primary schedule, Tuesday's primary is in Indiana. Cruz and Kasich are sticking to their deals. Kasich is not campaigning in Indiana, so Cruz can come face Trump on a one-on-one battle. Now, May 10th, Nebraska and West Virginia will hold primaries. May 17th, it will be Oregon's turn, and Cruz is not campaigning in that state. And May 24th is the Washington primary. So again, we turn to the panel to figure out what's going to happen. This is just a mess. It's just something else. It is interesting, but what do you think? Are we going to have a contested...
Well, there's 502 delegates left to be picked.
Right.
Donald Trump roughly needs half of those. It is impossible for Donald Trump to wrap up the nomination until June 7th. And
Which is California?
Yes, but there are also several other states. So 303 of those 502 delegates are on June 7th. So this race will go to June 7th. But Ted Cruz needs to win Indiana in order to make it a really tough contest. If he doesn't win Indiana, he'd have to win California, and that's a very tough thing to do.
And I believe currently Trump is up about 15 points in Indiana, correct?
Yeah,
so it seems highly unlikely that Ted Cruz will pull Indiana out.
And does anybody believe whether he wins Indiana or not, that is Cruz, that he's going to back out of this?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Our former Speaker of the House said it best. Boehner being the most miserable SOB he's ever worked with, and so we can count on him to continue to be miserable and make everyone around him miserable.
Well, what does it say when we find out that Mr. Cruz has 100? There are 100 senators that he sits with, and of that 100, I think only 3 of his current colleagues have backed him. I think that's about the right number. What does that say?
Well, it's clear what it says. It says that he's not real popular and that he's not really liked by a lot of people, including apparently most of the voters, because Trump keeps trumping him. So he just wants to hang in there, and he wants to, come out like a big guy as opposed to somebody who's running with his tail to his leg. So what do you expect? But what I think is interesting about this whole thing, and I've said it before, is that despite the violence that follows Trump, despite the mayhem that follows Trump stays high in the polls.
Why? Somebody answer that. How can you insult women? How can you insult
I'll tell you
Hispanics?
The number one answer I hear from Republicans, and it's interesting because Trump draws from moderate Republicans, conservative Republicans, and very conservative Republicans. They all say the same thing. They like the fact that he speaks his mind, even if they don't agree with them. They're tired of the regular politicians, and they're like, this guy's authentic, and that's the number one reason I hear it.
I will also say, too, when you have a homogenous coalition, it is very easy to discount things that are being said about marginalized groups, and I think that is the primary thing. The Democrats always have a more difficult road because our coalition, has starkly different agendas, and so that is a more delicate balance.
But let me point out something being from Texas. In Texas, we won the Hispanic vote. We won the Asian American vote.
We as in?
The Texas Republican Party last time won the Hispanic vote. 49-48, John Cornyn won it in Texas. We won the Asian American vote 52-48. We had significant increase in the African American community from 5% to 15%. So we have those coalitions that we have to put together as well. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, among Hispanic Republicans, Donald Trump wins Hispanic Republicans.
Are you concerned about a contested and perhaps even violent convention?
Am I concerned?
Yes.
No.
You don't think it's going to happen, or
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, what did you say?
I said I'm not concerned. I didn't think it was going to happen to me. It's not going to happen in my living room, so I'm fine. Yeah. This is a strange race. But I want to deal with something you just said earlier about how most of the people that you dealt with in the Republican Party who support Trump say they like that he's speaking the truth or saying the truth or saying what he really feels, something along those lines.
That he's not a politician.
And that he's not a politician, but all of them are saying what they really feel.
No. Some of them say they don't agree with him. I have a lot of Republicans friends that say,
I'm talking about the line of he's saying what he really feels. Well, they're all saying what they really feel.
No, I don't agree.
So I think that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Let's get there. Now,
Sure.
Lots of people are saying, I hear what Trump says, but I don't think he really means that. I mean, I think he's just, that is a lot of the rhetoric right now, that he's saying these things because that's how we feel, our inner baddies, if you will. But we don't believe he's really going to do that. Do you think he's going to build a wall? Trump?
Doesn't that sound insane that you're going to vote for somebody who you don't really believe what they're going to say, but you like what they say? That's insane.
Well,
the bottom line is that, and from my perspective and my own research and observation, there's a lot of white folks supporting Trump because he does say racist things, and they're reacting to the Obama presidency.
Well, I don't think the majority of Republicans are voting for Trump because because of that. The majority of Republicans are voting for Trump because they're very frustrated about the system.
Yeah.
They don't think Republicans delivered in the Congress and the Senate. They don't trust anybody who holds office.
Well, they trust a racist sexist.
Well, those are your words.
Well, no. When you put down people for being black, when you disrespect women, that's sexist. There's no gray area there.
Well,
so it's not just my opinion.
No.
Even what's her name, Mona, whatever her name is, who's running with Cruz now.
Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, her. Yeah. She called him sexist because how she put him down. So,
right,
I get it that you're not going to vote for Trump.
Right.
That's what
But you were talking about the supporters of people for Trump and why they're supporting him.
And how much sense it don't make.
The major reason why Republicans are voting for Donald Trump is because they basically want somebody to shake up the
I
system.
understand it. Listen, we've got months to talk.
Yeah, well, I'm going to agree with Cleo, and he wasn't backing down on his. He's what we would call a strong black alpha male, and we need a few more of those. And I do agree with him. Trump has a tremendous number of supporters that are voting for him because he's racist, he's a misogynist, and he's an Islamophobe.